Hey everybody, welcome back to the kitchen. Today we are going to bake a southern style homemade banana pudding from scratch. Yes, I said from scratch, no box pudding mix, none of that. So let's get into what we will need for this recipe. Let's start by preheating our ovens to 350 degrees. Okay, don't come for me for my store brand vanilla wafer cookies. They were actually pretty good and $2 less. I usually opt for the name brand, but I decided to give them a try. Now, I normally use the McCormick brand vanilla extract, but I didn't have any in my pantry and I was not going to the store, so this had to do today. So here's what you'll need: 3/4 cup of sugar divided, 1/3 cup of flour, a dash of salt, 3 eggs separated, 2 cups of milk, 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 25 to 30 Nilla wafer cookies divided, and 2 to 3 ripe bananas sliced. Here I am dividing my sugar first, so I'll have it ready. So when it says the sugar needs to be divided, we need to use 1/2 cup for the pudding. Then we use the rest for the meringue topping, along with the egg whites. So I also have my eggs separated. We have the egg yolks for the pudding and then the egg whites for the meringue topping. Alright, so let's get started on that pudding. Now, most banana pudding recipes I see require a double boiler. I don't have one, so I'm just going to show you how I prepare my pudding. Now the stove is off. I mix my dry ingredients into my boiler before I even turn the stove on. I also add in my milk before I turn the stove on, just because I want everything whisked together with no clumps and lumps. So as you can see, I have all of my dry ingredients in the boiler, and then I add my 2 cups of milk and I whisk well to make sure everything is blended in smoothly. I also whisk my egg yolks in one by one just to make sure they're fully incorporated. Now, I've seen a lot of different banana pudding from scratch recipes, and if you do it differently and you get the results that you want, by any means, keep doing what you're doing. But this is how I do mine to achieve the results that I want. And I also do this method because I do not have a double boiler. So after everything is mixed in, I go ahead and turn my stove on low, and then I'm going to stand over this and whisk it for about 8 to 10 minutes. It's very important that you whisk it this whole time because you don't want any lumps or clumps. So it may seem a little tedious, but I'm telling you, it will be well worth it in the end. Alright, so at this point we are just trusting the process and we are whisking. Now, a way to check to see if it is thickening and getting to the consistency that you would like, you can just rock it back and forth and see if it sticks onto the side of that boiler. Now, when it does start to stick, that's when you know you're going in the right direction. And once it's thickened up, you just can keep on whisking. Take it off the heat for a little bit, whisk it up, put it back on the stove, and look at that. That's what I'm saying, trust the process. So it looks like I have my pudding to the desired consistency. So I'm going to add in my vanilla extract once it cools off. Now I'm just showing off. It turned out really good. So, like I said, if you have another method and you're able to achieve these results, then, just keep doing what you're doing. But look at that. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my vanilla extract and stir it in. Make sure it's whisked in completely. And I just whisk that around for about a minute or so just to make sure everything is well mixed. So once that's well mixed, it is time to assemble our banana pudding. Now you can use a 13-inch by 9-inch pan for this, but I'm using this one that I got from my mother, and I'm not sure of the size, but I like to use it if I just want to make a small pan. So as you can see, I've layered the bottom with the banana pudding, and I choose to cut my bananas right before I layer my pudding, just because we all know how fast bananas age. So I went ahead and cut up my banana, and I'm gonna go ahead and layer my banana pudding. Now we do pudding, cookies, and then banana, and then we top it with the pudding mix again, just pretty much repeating the pattern. So pudding, and then you do the cookies after that, and then you do the banana, and then just continue in that pattern. Now you can use more or less bananas to your liking, or you can use more or less cookies. I didn't use as many cookies this time because I thought that I was going to run out, but thank goodness I didn't. So it looks like this particular pan I chose, I was able to get about 3 to 4 layers before I ended it with the topping. Now I did have bananas left over that I didn't use, so I'm going to end that top layer with the pudding and I'm going to set it aside. Now it's time to prepare our meringue topping. So for this, you're going to add your 3 egg whites to a bowl and then gradually mix in sugar using a hand mixer. You're going to mix this at a medium speed, gradually adding into the sugar until you notice it thickens up and takes on a white color. Now you need to mix this for about 1 to 2 minutes and do it right before you're going to put your pudding in the oven. Okay, so this is how you want your meringue topping to look before you add it to the top of your banana pudding. You just want to make sure it's like a thick white texture. So this is another point where you have to trust the process. Now you will know when your meringue is done when it is a thick texture, and I'll show you. See, just like that. Okay, so now that our meringue is finished, we are going to add it to the top of the banana pudding. Now we're just going to cover the top going to each edge. Now the purpose is to seal that banana pudding in so you won't have any brown bananas or anything like that, any wateriness, none of that. You're going to have the perfect pudding. Now I love this banana pudding recipe. I actually got it from my mother, which she eventually told me that she got it off of the vanilla wafer box. So the recipe on there is very similar to the recipe that I'm showing you today. So once you have your meringue topping on all smooth out and the way you want it to look, we are going to add our remaining vanilla wafer cookies for garnish. And right now I'm just making little peaks on the top so it'll have that look when it comes out of the oven. Okay, so this is how it's going to look before we add those remaining vanilla wafer cookies. Now I was so scared that I was going to run out of cookies that I chopped these in half, and it really kind of worked out. I usually use a whole one, but these are pretty good. These worked out. So by the grace of God, I was able to chop those cookies in half without them crumbling, and then I just added them along the outside for a garnish. Now once this masterpiece is done, we're going to bake it in the oven at 350 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. And there you have it, delicious Southern style homemade banana pudding. Yes, banana pudding from scratch. Now this can be served warm or chilled, but you want to let it cool for 15 to 20 minutes before serving. Now I like mine chilled in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes, but my family, they like to eat theirs warm, so I go ahead and give them a slice warm. Look at that, delicious. So there you have it. That's my slice right now, and I'm about to dive in. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions, please post them down below. Any suggestions, anything you see I could have done better, I'm open to everything. Thank you for watching. Bye.